Dobrý den. Chtěli bychom vás tady všechny moc přivítat. Jsme moc rádi, že jste dorazili. Ze Svobody učení tady vlastně je nás 6. Máme tady Jirku, Hinka, Michala, Aničku a Zdeničku. A já jsem teda Tomáš a máme také tady speciálního hosta Quincyho. Na úvod bychom se rádi představili jako organizace Svoboda učení. Fungujeme tedy zhruba už 3 roky. Postupně se z té teoretické roviny, kdy jsme především se soustředili na naše webové stránky, překládání článků a videí, vlastně pohybujeme směrem, řekněme, k praxi. Snažíme se pořádat akce a celkově se tedy více zaměřit na praktické věci. V tomto roce nás, myslím, jako Svobodou učení čeká spoustu zajímavých věcí. Plánujeme ještě takové podobné setkání, řekněme, nebo podobnou akci tohoto typu a připravujeme takový prakticky zaměřený projekt. Krátce bych představil Quincyho. Quincy byl včera na kampě, ještě se zeptám, byl tam někdo? My jsme tam teda byli, bylo to moc příjemný. Quincy teda teďka vlastně žije už tuším zhruba 20 let ve Francii. Přivezl nám na ochutnání úplně famózní sýry. Má tam krásný dům a má tam kamaráda vinaře. A mimo jiné tam teda má manželku a své 2 děti. Obě děti vlastně chodí nebo chodily do školy Summerhill, podobně jako Quincy. Quincy ochutnali to klasické vzdělávání, tam chodil tuším 3 roky, pak vlastně 7 let pobyl v Summerhillu a pak se vydal někam na univerzitu, kde ho to moc nebavilo a vzdělával se vlastně pomocí nějakých kurzů. Když odcházel ze Summerhillu v 16 letech, tak odcházel vlastně s nadšením pro fotografii. Nakonec ho to zaválo teda směrem vlastně k filmařství, kterému se věnuje doteď, točí přírodopisné filmy, které jsou často oceňovány. Natočil například o nějakých gorilách, který mají vřelý vztah k lidem, taková rodinka vlastně, gorilí a lidská. Točí filmy o nějakém zvláštním broukovi nebo broucích vlastně v Amazonii. A teďka připravuje zajímavý dokument o kruzích v obilí. Takže to teďka bude asi jeho vlastně další film. My jsme si pro vás taky připravili nějaké promítání. Máme vlastně teď unikátní šanci se podívat na jeho prvotinu ze školy Summerhill. Vůbec sami nevíme, co nás vlastně čeká. Quincy to měl dlouho někde, nemohl to ani najít kazetu VHS, kterou jsme teda po jeho příjezdu vlastně tady ještě narychlo zdigitalizovali. A víc informací o tom nemám. Takže jestli můžu poprosit, pustit film.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good afternoon and welcome. This is not rock and roll. This is a conference about education and freedom. Welcome.
So many people, great. So I was saying that the film that you just saw was 30 years old. And I made that as a student in film school, because at Summerhill I spent 7 years this school, and during that time playing on my bicycle and things, I really liked doing photography. So I said, how do you get into photography school after Summerhill? And somebody said, you need maths and English and physics, and I don't know what other exams. So I said, okay, I'll do maths and English and physics and take the exams and try and get into this school. So eventually I did art school for photography, and then came out. Nobody wanted me as a photographer, so I said, oh, great, now what, you know? And somebody said, well, do you know how to film? And I said, yeah, sure, I know how to film. That was part of my curriculum. And so I ended up filming and becoming a cameraman. And that was great until the producer said, hey, you should become a director. And I said, what, me? So I didn't really take many decisions. I just kind of went with the flow. And people said, "You're good at this. Why don't you try this?" I think that's great, isn't life wonderful, you know? And then, and today I make documentaries either on my own or with my producer, or we co-direct or we co-write or things like that. From many topics, we did a whole series on little insects, from mosquitoes and fleas, and 1 hour each: fleas, mosquitoes, bees, and termites, and ants and spiders, and more. And then moved on to gorillas and little insects that live in the Amazon, and more recently a series on plants, the secret life of plants, and the last one was on the superpowers of urine. Oh, we did make a whole series on feces too. Okay, so we like the kind of things that nobody else likes. And the films are shown in France and Germany on Arte, which is a cultural channel. So when people say, "What do you do?" I say, "Well, I make films that nobody watches." But in the end, I suppose if you count each audience, there's more and more people that watch them. But when you compare it to the games that are on the big channels, you know, you think, well, who are we? You know, just a little dot in the ocean. But there we go. So that's a bit of my experience with Summerhill. And just before we start, I know a lot of you know about Summerhill and have read about Summerhill. I just want to precise two fundamentals. Well, three. One is that it's a boarding school, okay? So parents are not on site, it's a boarding school, you sleep there. In England, that's pretty, you know, there's a lot of boarding schools where students go, you spend a whole term there, you come home for half term or just for end of term. But the two fundamentals that I just want to make sure it's clear in everybody's mind is that, one, it's a democratic school. What does that mean when you say democratic school? Like Ina was saying, the whole community of 70 to 80 children and 15 to 20 adults get together and vote on problems, on laws, because it's a free school, but there can be anything between 0 and over 100 laws when I was there that would go back to 0, and then we'd vote a few new laws in again and say, oh, there's too many, back to 0, and you know, you can do that. It's democracy that doesn't have a committee of adults above it saying, what do they want to do? What do they want to do here? Oh, no, we can't accept. There's no veto, you know what I mean? It's trust in the children, trust in the education, and of course 80 children can easily outvote 15 or 20 adults just by putting their hand up against something or for something. So that's one very important part of the Summerhill education you may or may not be aware of. And the second is lessons are not compulsory. Yeah. So, which means if the lessons are there, you can do maths, physics, art, whatever, and you don't have to go. So what happened for me? I was 9. I went 3 years to school beforehand, and that was okay with me. But then my brother was already at Summerhill, and once he came home, and I saw his books for lessons, and they were all covered in drawings and writings and artistic things. I said, "Where have you come from?" He says, "Oh, this is my school book." And I said, "What?" And then I'm looking at his jeans. They've all got drawings all over them and everything. And wow, you know. And I said, "Well, what is this school?" You know. And I'm like 9, so I don't know if there are any 9-year-olds here, but what is it, this high? And my parents said, "Well, yeah, you can go." And I said, "Okay, great." So what did I do when I arrived in Summerhill? I rode my bicycle. Okay, I didn't take a shower every day. Yeah, sure, why? Oh, nobody's on my back saying, "You've got to shower now, you got to do this, it's time to do that, it's time to do your homework." There was no homework, okay? There was no showering if you didn't want to shower. It was just, you live your life as simply as it can be, and you get interested in things that you're interested in, that you like doing. Is that bad? Is it illegal? Thank God not. So, I did that for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, I don't know, making tree huts in trees and swinging through the branches and playing around and messing about and learning how the meeting works, because it's a very impressive experience. If you do something wrong, like you borrow somebody's bike without asking, that might seem very basic in today's society. You did not borrow my bike, just, don't do that again. But in Summerhill, it would be like if you do it 2 or 3 times, then you'd get brought up in the meeting, and everybody, it would be a room like this, everybody sitting in a big circle, and the whole community, but more than the adults, your mates, your friends, the people of your age are saying, why are you doing this? Why do you do that? And telling you to just, stop screwing about. So you'd learn how to respect other people, and the respect is, the adults and the children have respect for you, and they're trying to expect the same thing back from you, that you respect them. And it's a very fragile kind of thing to start. I think that's the most important thing, is when you start a school, is to try and get that philosophy, the love, the trust, to install it, and then have it grow through the generations, where the older children are giving back that love and trust to the younger children, unconsciously almost. When I became an older child, it was like just normal. You're not, I don't have the impression that I was that conscious, that I was, taking care of the younger children and incarnating a philosophy or trust and love. You just do it. It just seems simple and straightforward and obvious. What else? Those are the 2 fundamentals I thought it would be important to stress. And yeah. Well, any questions? I don't want to do a monologue here. I mean, maybe everybody knows.
So if you borrow some bike,
somebody's
bike, so you were talking to everybody there about how it starts. Can you tell some example how it looks like? For example, like somebody's.
Hey, Quincy, get off my bike!
And after the meeting?
Afterwards, okay, once is enough. He'll just tell me, and they'll be okay. If I do it every day, and I don't care about what he says, somebody will put, in the meeting, there is an order, so you go and see the chairperson and the secretary and said, I'd like to speak, I have a subject I'd like to speak about, so you put yourself on a list. Okay, so your name is on the list, and somebody will say, okay, David, what do you want to speak about? So David, it's your turn, David. So David says, well, I want to bring up Quincy because he keeps borrowing my bike without asking me, and I'm really pissed off because now he's got a flat tire and the chain doesn't work, and he shouldn't do that. I keep telling him and he won't listen to me. So while he's speaking, everybody's looking at him, right? Blah, 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 the whole community. And I'm sitting in a corner going, when you're 9 or something and everybody's looking at you, then suddenly the chairman will say, well, Quincy, what have you got to say for yourself? And sometimes you might not have anything to say because you're just, you might be a bit shit scared to have all these, or your friends look at you saying, what are you messing about doing? What's this game? This is his stuff, leave it alone. But most of the time you manage to speak a couple of words. Most people manage to speak, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize it hurt you so much, or whatever. And you just learn the way, and then that's an example. And meetings are, like last night we were speaking about structure. People said, this is a free school, what about structure? I thought it was a very interesting question, because Summerhill has a lot of structure. Anything from a bonfire, you don't want to get burnt by the bonfire, so where's the structure? It's automatic. You don't go too close, you don't put your hand in it because you're going to burn yourself. Nobody's going to say, oh, be careful, be careful. Nobody says that, because you just know it,
So no making fear.
Huh?
No making a fear.
Yeah. You learn as you go. And riding your bike, you could ride your bike, and I used to do that a lot, and once a stick went through the front wheel, and if you know how, the stick come around and hit the fork, and my bike just went over, and I was like topless, wearing no t-shirt and just a pair of shorts and barefoot, and my whole body went and it was all red with blood and everything, and it looked really scary, but it didn't really hurt that much. But coming back to structure, it's really important. There are times, lunch is at this time, breakfast is this time, lunch is that time, supper is at 5:30 in the evening. Okay, that's pretty early, but that's how they have it in Summerhill. And the lessons every week, they start at 9, and the first lesson is 40 minutes, etc. And the meetings once a week, so that there is structure in that form, and then there's structure in the form of rules, the laws. Like I was saying, you can have, there are many laws at Summerhill, but the difference, fundamental difference is every law is negotiable. So you may think something is unfair. Unfairness is the basis of a lot of hatred in society. If you think something's not fair, it can create a war, it can create jealousy, it can create all kinds of things. So if you're able to bring it up with the whole community, speak about it openly, debate about it, and say, this law, maybe it isn't fair. Maybe we should change it. Maybe we should drop it. You can raise the question, discuss it, and maybe drop it. And anybody, any child, any adult can do that. And people will listen, it will be debated. The president of the meeting, the chairman of the meeting, will, he's kind of like the chef d'orchestre, you know? Guy who's directing the orchestra. He's like deciding how long we debate on this problem, if it's a big problem, if it's a small problem, when we should wrap up the debate and take a vote. So that's the chairperson's role. And of course, it's often one of the teenagers, older teenagers, who chair the meeting. And it's not like sometimes you have to come to a consensus and everybody has to agree. No, it's just a majority vote. We vote and that's it. And it can be silly things like, you know, I don't want to go to bed at 9:30. I propose we have an extra hour. And we go to bed at 10:30, and somebody else will say, well, yeah, but you guys make so much noise, and or the next day you can't get up for breakfast. I don't know what the arguments may be, but there's a debate, and then it's voted. But quite often the subjects of the meeting are, when I go back as an adult and I listen, I said, is that what we spoke about? It's not philosophy, no, it's very simple, you know, it really is.
You'll hear me, Quincy. I don't hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Quincy, hi, I'm Stuart.
Hi.
You told us what it was like for you going into the Summerhill experience. I'm curious, what was it like coming out of what I call the real world into this world for you and maybe some of your mates? I'm really curious about that.
That's interesting what you say. What you call the real world. I often look at Summerhill as a little island, you know, and the sea is around it. Sometimes the sea is calm, sometimes it's a bit rough, but you know. But there's a time that comes in Summerhill for most children, and my 2 kids went to Summerhill, and they felt kind of the same way. When I spent 7 years at Summerhill, and there's a time when you think, I've seen enough of this island, I want to see what's beyond the horizon now. And so you start preparing for that, and you think, okay, and I wanted to do photography, as you know, but I didn't get into photography school straight away. So I got all my exams ready from Summerhill and thought I was going to fail all of them, because everybody says at Summerhill, you know, you can't get exams, you know. But I got all of them, so I was happy with that. I had the list ready, and then I had to go into the art school and have an interview, and there were like 400 people that wanted 20 seats. So you think, oh wow, there's a lot of competition. How am I going to do that? And I didn't get in the first year. So I decided to go into College of Further Education. And the College of Further Education, I went in just a regular, what every English kid does after, you know, O-levels, GCSEs, and started doing A-levels, you know, next step up, just because I had a year where I was going to prepare to get into art school, and instead of staying in bed late, I decided to see what else was out there. And I must admit that the day lessons were very, very scary. And in a real sense, you know, I can just have this image of this one teacher who was more than overweight, dressed in a suit with a tie and white like a pig. I mean, he was sweating away and saying, there's only one goal for you kids in this class, and that's for you to have this little piece of paper by the end of the year, and that's my goal, so wrap it. This is the way he was introducing his first lesson. Well, I wasn't really used to that, so I said, okay, maybe I'll try evening classes. So I was lucky enough to get into evening classes, and that was great because it was full of adults, and I kind of felt like I fitted in better with the adults and not so much with some of the kids of my age who didn't come from Summerhill. It's not all of them, but maybe a large majority of them. And that worked fine, and I learned that, you know, asking lots and lots and lots of questions was really good, whereas in the past I might have thought maybe that was just, you know, for losers. You know, why are you asking all these questions? Don't you get it? And the people who ask lots of questions that are actually the people who understand it most. And so that was difficult, yeah. They were making fun of these kids that are in the day class were making fun of the teachers and throwing pieces of paper in the back of the teachers, and I'm thinking, what the hell, you know, are we here to learn or what are we doing? And so I understand now why people take 10 years just to get GCSEs. Just, you know, an exam in England that you take when you're 16, just what we used to call the O-level has become the GCSE now, because there's a lot of messing about and people are not interested. And I like to use a good metaphor. Some of you may have heard this, whereas if tomorrow your Minister of Education says, oh, the future is to speak Chinese. In every school in the country, you must all learn Chinese. So you have millions of kids. Ni hao, ni hao. Great, that's good. They may do 10 years of this, like many French children have done 10 years of English. Most of them will never speak fluent Chinese. Okay, it's a question of motivation. Somebody else has said, you're going to need this, do it, just do it. And somehow, it doesn't work like that. We're all different, and some will be really good maybe, but most people will be, well, won't be fluent. But if tomorrow you find a Chinese person you fall in love with, there's going to be a high level of motivation. You're going to go out there and say, Jesus, I want to communicate. What's the ingredients? How do you cook this? Where can we go? Where do we get the train from? And where's the toilet in Chinese? You want to know all that because you want to communicate with somebody you love. And so it's a question of motivation and interest. But I think that's pretty obvious for me, but for many people in the education system, somehow, I don't know, maybe there's no ideal system. Summerhill is not an ideal school. I mean, nothing's perfect. We'll arrive in Summerhill with, you know, heaps of bags on our back with problems and parents and whatever you have when you're only just 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we will do with what we have. But yeah, it was quite a jump that first year, and afterwards you learn to find your own path and stay with it and the people you like being with and what you need, what you like doing and what you enjoy. And it kind of guides you down a path.
And Quincy, what about your friends from Summerhill? What do they do now?
Well, the girl you saw in that video who said she wanted to do medicine, she is a dentist. She has 2 lovely daughters, and she spoke to me a few years ago saying, Quincy, you sent your kids to Summerhill, how do you feel? And I said, what do you mean, how do I feel? You went to Summerhill, you know. Well, I'm thinking about my kids. And I said, well, I can't think for you or for your kids. Because it's the adults, again, it's the adults decide if you go or don't go to Summerhill, right? They have to firstly be convinced, secondly have the guts, and thirdly write a check. Because freedom is expensive, as we all know. You have to fight for your freedom. It may cost your life, it may cost your bank account, but freedom is a fight. Why? I have no idea. It shouldn't be that way, but it is, sadly. And others, yeah. So some others. One guy, he came out of the school. He didn't know how to read or write. So you're 16, you don't know how to read, you don't know how to write. Okay, he was black belt karate. Okay, karate, you know, and he did that very well, black belt. I don't think you can get anything higher, can you? It's like the top of the thing, and he's a great friend now, and always was, and he has since learned to read and write Japanese, French, and English. I think, Jesus Christ, you came out, you didn't even know how to read and write. Now you've got a third language I can't even speak. So, and he has 4 lovely restaurants in London that he's running and with a great team, and he's happy in life. So, okay, he married 3 Japanese ladies. Maybe that helps. Not at the same time, you know, married, divorced, married, divorced. And then when he had children, he became serious, because you do. Any other questions? Yes?
I think it was one of the teachers there spoke about Friends of Summerhill.
Yeah, Friends of Summerhill.
Are there some like schools that work as if like the similar way as Summerhill?
Right, well...
and if some of them are not on the boarding style, because many of us here have started schools that we have.
Right, there's lots of questions there. Let me take them backwards, can I? Not boarding, okay. One of the things Neil's always said, and there's a lot of parents here, and me too, I'm a parent, but he always said that parents often get in the way. And so, yeah, I don't know how to say this. I'm English born. Now I have dual nationality, but I'm English born. My mother was in England, and she would come to visit every single term. And at the beginning, when I was 9 or 10, I used to think, okay. And then afterwards, I said, no, don't come. You know, this is my life. Just do your life at home, and let me get on with mine. And it was kind of interfering for me. Okay, I'm not saying for every other child, but a lot of other children came from countries far away, like Asia and America and Europe, and couldn't just come, you know, for 3 or 4 days every term. So I understand what Neil means by that, but coming back to the Friends of Summerhill, that's something that was founded back in 1985 to create like to create a helping group of friends who can help out in case there's any problems, and secondly to share knowledge about how Summerhill works, what kind of information, what's going on in the school, things like that, because there wasn't really anything at the time. And it came in very handy when, in the year 2000, there was before the year 2000, the English government Ministry of Education, the Ofsted, the group that controls children's education in schools, to see if the health standards are met, the education standards are met, etc. They were giving a lot of hassle and pressure to the schools, saying, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to change your philosophy, lessons must be compulsory, and you've got to put more wash basins and more showers, and I don't know what kind of work into the buildings, and putting a lot of pressure on Zoe, who is now the principal of the school, and basically doing what they could to close it. Because the ultimatum was, if you don't change, we'll close the school. So the Friends of Summerhill came in very handy at that point, because the children and the Friends of Summerhill formed a group to say, well, what can we do with this? You know, this has been like 80 years of democratic education, and the government wants to close the school. What are we going to do? Are we going to just sit down and close it and make a restaurant or a hotel or something? Or are we going to fight for our rights? And the kids and some of the old ex-pupils and Friends of Summerhill wrote around the world to all their friends. Internet wasn't that active at the time, but they wrote to all their friends letters saying, what can we do? We need some money to pay the lawyers to defend our cause and take them to court. So this tiny little island that I like to call Paradise Island for me was attacking this big dragon. You can't do that, you know. This is forbidden. You cannot have freedom anymore. We must no, I won't say that. But yeah, so they took them to court. And as everybody knows today, Summerhill still exists, which means they won the court case. And Summerhill and Her Majesty's government Ofsted examiners were told to back off, to keep the pressure off the school and keep it just, you know, you study what the results are and just the basic thing, not overdo it kind of thing. So it was very important to have friends and a network. Now, regarding your question, is there a network of Summerhill schools? I don't know. I left that school 30 years ago. I am still in contact with them, but the best thing is to write to the school and say, is there some kind of network you're involved with? How can we do things? But yeah, I know there are networks of parallel schools, different schools. Some of them go down different paths, which is great. I think it's great to have plurality in education. Why should we just have one model? The government model. It's really good to have Montessori, Freud, Steiner, and Summerhill, and experimental schools that open up the question, because you might think Summerhill's an ideal school. It's not ideal for everybody. Some people don't find happiness at Summerhill. They're bored. If they don't know how to find initiation of their own behalf, they just sit around and say, well, nobody's telling them what to do. They can feel really bored, oh, don't have to go to lessons, all right. And I've seen that happen a couple of times, where people spend a term or two and they leave. Okay.
Můžeme poprosit do mikrofonu vždycky, aby to bylo na záznamu.
Sorry, we have to follow the microphone.
Sorry. It was about asking if there exists, or if you know about a school where it works in this kind of free way, while it's not a boarding school, because you mentioned it in the beginning as one of the three important points. So that was, where I was leading to.
I'm not a teacher. I am a parent. I'm not a teacher. I'm not in education or anything. I make scientific and wildlife films, and that's what I do. But as a father, how do I put it? As a child, I was really happy to be away from my parents, except for one night. But it was really, really good. And what do you want me to say? I don't know. Do they exist? Probably. Yeah, sure. I'm sure they exist. Are they good? I don't know. Probably. I really don't know. You have to look on this marvelous thing called internet and see what's out there. Throw your rod out and see what comes back. But I'm sure there are many interesting experiences. I know there's a lot of homeschooling where people do it at home, and they create groups, and the parents take it in turns to hold the class. But I don't know how it works. Are the kids happy afterwards? I don't know. You'll have to invite somebody who's grown up from one of those schools and see what they have to say. What's good? What's bad? Yeah, microphone. Let's follow the microphone.
I have a question. You were attending normal school for some 3 years and then only came to Summerhill. There were some other children who already in the age of 5 or 6 went directly to Summerhill without experience of ordinary school.
There are some, yeah.
So there was some difference. So the first question is, do you think there was a difference? My anticipation is that it's easy to come, see surrounding and to copy it. But our problem, and this is now my hard question, is that all children who will attend our free school will be before in an ordinary school, I'm afraid already spoiled, and come and what to do with our freedom.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I'm not sure I'm the best person to answer, but I'll try. I don't know how Neil started. Neil started Summerhill in 1921. He was a teacher in a country school and felt that he needed to do something different, to trust and love the children. Now, I don't know how I would do it if I wanted to start a school tomorrow, but because it's easy to read Summerhill in a book, and it's not so easy to grasp it and to, even worse, to actually be part of it and say, get those meetings going and get the respect for the other persons going and get the ball rolling. It's not so easy. I came when I was 9, the ball was already rolling, but the kids who came when they were 6, the ball was already rolling for them too. Why? Because they were older kids. So I know at Summerhill there is a problem with children coming and discovering such freedom when they're 12, 13. because the freedom can express itself in violent ways and physical ways, and it can get very bullyish. And so it is a problem for people beyond that age arriving at Summerhill. For some reason, don't ask me why, I'm not a specialist, but for some reason it's a problem. Now when you're starting a school, I think, you know, between 6 and 11, I think you probably should be okay, but then I'm not a specialist. You happy with that answer? Okay. Yes.
Hi, Quincy. I would like to ask, how did you like the lessons? Was it fun for you? And next question is, can children propose some subjects?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How did I like the lessons? Okay. How did I end up going to lessons? Maybe first, because I'm out there playing in the woods with a pair of shorts on and no shoes and messing around and taking a shower maybe once a week and making bonfires and climbing trees and one day in the woods with a couple of mates we found some little kittens in the forest, pussycats, and thinking, oh dear, meow, meow, meow. And you know, you're a little boy and you think, oh dear, they're gonna die if we don't take care of them. What do we do? What do they eat? You know, I mean, maybe that's pretty obvious, but I wasn't very sure. And so we went to we thought, well, let's go and see the biology teacher. She must know something about this. So we go running in and she said, oh, Quincy, could you just wait 20 minutes? I'm in a class here. Just wait outside and I'll be with you in about 20 minutes. So we go out thinking, okay, all right. And caressing, you know, stroking the cat, and so then we see all these big kids come out with their school books and everything, and saying, what are they doing? You know, what are they doing in there? And they were obviously having a class, but you know, you're just a kid messing around. You see what's going on, and then she tells us about the cats, and then she said, well, why don't you come, if you're interested in animals, why don't you come to biology lesson? For you, it's at this day at this time. And we say, oh yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? It looks really interesting. So I ended up going into the biology class. Now the question, did I enjoy the lessons? Yeah, I wouldn't go else. I think the question you should ask another way. If you're a teacher, I don't know, are there any teachers here? Okay, if you are a teacher and you know that children have the right not to attend your lesson.
Actually, what I'm thinking about right now.
How are you going to approach that? Okay? You know that you have a certain number of things that you have to get across by this. By 7, he has to know this. By 9, he has to know that. By 11, whatever it is in Czechoslovakia, I don't know. But Czech Republic, sorry. But yeah, do you understand what I mean? A lot of teachers are scared of that. When a new teacher arrives at Summerhill, okay, first lesson, okay, what do you teach? English, okay, let's take English. You're teaching English, first English lesson, nobody turns up. Okay, second day, maybe one person turns up. Okay, well, one person, gotta make the best of this. I don't know, but you've got to find inventive ways to make it interesting. But the interesting thing in Summerhill is it's a school for spoiled brats, really. You know, there's never more than 10 people in a class, never. I mean, you know, it's a dream world, right? 10 children.
And what if someone wants to dance, for example, and he can propose, like, yeah, we want a dance teacher.
Yeah.
Give someone to us. Well, is it possible?
Well, it depends how motivated and how serious that request is, I suppose. I wanted to take piano lessons. And they said, yeah, sure. Well, we have a piano teacher who can come in and teach 2, 3, 4 kids who want to do piano. And so I did that for a year, and it was very... I used to play boogie woogie, I still do, but this was classical music. A lot of scales, right? And I thought, okay, that's great. Took the grade, whatever grade it was, the first grade you take in piano, and I thought, okay, now can we have some fun stuff? Because it was an exam, right? Took that exam, and I said, right, can we have some fun stuff now and play around a bit? And the teacher would say, no, we've got to get ready for the next grade. No way, no. I need my share of fun to do the hard work. Do you understand what I mean? And so I quit piano. I wish my parents would have pushed me to do it. You know? No, but I stopped piano in a classical sense of a way, and because it was just one exam after the other, I could see it coming. I said, that's not what I want. You know, I want to have fun too. So yes, you can ask for lessons, and if it's serious and you really want to do it, then in my time it was something that would be possible. Today, I don't know. Yeah, probably. It will at least be studied to see, you know, what do you want to do, why, where do you want to go with it, or try a couple of lessons to see if you're really interested. Yeah. But it's a private school, so all that ends up being numbers in a book, you know.
Quincy, what about your children? Did you make the decision for them to go to Summerhill?
Who's speaking?
That's me.
What? What? Oh yeah, Thomas. Okay, what was the question?
What about your children? Did you make the decision for them to go to Summerhill?
Okay, my children, every 5 years at Summerhill, there's a big party of old pupils. And we kind of celebrate Summerhill has survived getting this far. And maybe another 5 years will be difficult, maybe it won't, but we like getting together and celebrating. And of course, what do? We'll bring our kids along, right? So my son was there and my daughter was there, and my son, one summer, he said, hey, this looks like a really great place, can I go? Oh, you want to go to Summerhill? You sure? This is a father now. You think this place, they don't speak French, you know? And you find all sorts of excuses. And he said, yeah, this looks like a great place. I want to try it. Do you think I can go? And I said, well, there's a long waiting list. Really long wait. And there was a waiting list. I don't know how long it was, but it's really expensive. I don't know if we can afford that. But you know, finding all sorts of excuses. But you know, at least it was testing how much he wanted to go. In the end, I spoke to Zoe and said, look, if I get to grips with myself and I find the money and agree, do you think there would be space for my son? And she said, oh, there's a long waiting list. I said, okay, that's good. And I said, how much is it? And she told me, and I don't remember how much it was, but it's a lot of money. I thought, okay. And I know that once you start at Summerhill, you don't want to chicken out halfway through. You've got to go right through till he's a teenager, till you're 15 or 16 or 17. So I knew that you have to go through 4 to 6 or 7 years of paying for this school every year. And so basically Zoe said, leave it with me and I'll get back to you if we can find a space. And because I'm an ex-pupil, she did everything to try and fit my son in, and she phoned me back in August and said, hey, we know where we can put your son. If you're interested, if you're ready, there's a space for him. So then you think, oh my God, now it comes back to me, you know? It's all about me. I have to trust myself to let go, you know? And so I thought about it for a while. We spoke with my wife. We spoke for a while, saying, what should we do? And she was all for it. Yeah, yeah, sure, let's do it. Can we afford it? Yeah, we can afford it. I'll go back to work, I'll do this. We'll do it, just do it. And I was going, okay, so it really is just me now. Okay, right, okay, well, I can't say no, can I? I went there, I had a great time. What happened? Did I kill myself? No. Am I depressed? No. What other excuses can I find? Oh my God. Okay, I don't really want to let go of my son. He was like 11 already, huh? I didn't really want to let go of him because I love him dearly, and I loved the family time, and I just had to say, look, you are the problem. And when Neil say parents get in the way, I thought, oh my God, it's coming boomerang right back in my face. Let go, Quincy, let go. So I said, listen to my son. I said, listen, if you want, Zoe's found a space at Summerhill for you. And what was my surprise? I couldn't even negotiate. He was, yeah! exaggeration. There's no exaggeration. There's about 10 minutes of that, okay? 10 minutes. How could I go back on that? No negotiation. He's going, oh, okay. So you swallow your saliva and you say, okay, that's done. He's happy. And then when you put him on the plane, the first trip we drove him there with some of his stuff and left him there. And then every term, you take him to the airport, and then my daughter went there. Okay, every time you think, okay, you have to show that you're happy because they're going to Summerhill, but it was my heart that was being torn apart because we were being separated again, and that wasn't very easy. It wasn't easy, even though I knew I was hoping, you can never know, but I was hoping he would have as good a time as I had at Summerhill, because I really enjoyed it. And so there we go, yeah. So yeah, that was tough. I don't remember what the question was. What was your question? Did that answer the question? Yeah, kind of?
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, trust life, I suppose. Yeah. Did he die? No. Is he a failure? I don't really know if I have the science to measure that, but he seems to be pretty reasonable and sensible in life and fun and earning a living and everything. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Good for him. Yes? Microphone. Yeah. Oh, we have a question just in front.
Do you think that you would be there where you're now, making documentary films and all that kind of stuff, if you didn't finish the art school, if you didn't get the diploma? Do you think you would still do what you love if you didn't attempt the school?
I have no idea. Let me just look at that crystal ball. Quincy. Oh my God. Oh, he would have been much better. Would have been a nice guy. No, I really don't know. Professionally speaking, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I would have been some other person. But I know in today's society, even in the 80s when I was studying, exams were really important. If you don't get your exams, you don't get anywhere. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. A lot of people go for these exams and still end up unemployed. So I don't know what the question is. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know. Some people don't have any exams and they're really happy as well. I don't think there's any rule. It's for each person with all the backpack that they have from their parents and genetic stuff and experiences and love affairs and everything, that you build your life on that. There's a question just behind, I think.
I wanted to ask you if, as a parent, if you're getting some kind of report on your kids, if they're in a Summerhill, or if you know about their development, or if there's some kind of report, feedback, or anything like that.
The feedback that I had was from my children. Come home. And I was lucky, or well, I don't like the word lucky because I'm not sure I believe in luck, but I managed to organize my life around school term, school holidays. School term, school holidays. School term, go out and film. School holidays, make sure you're at home editing and around the house kind of thing. So that was good. And when the kids came home, I would, kind of speak with them and see how they were doing and things. Sometimes there'd be great stuff, sometimes there'd be difficult moments, sad moments, of course, that's life. But like an academic report, absolutely none. None whatsoever, nothing, How good is he in maths? I don't know. I didn't know. So he wanted to become a landscape gardener, so he went to study landscape gardening. I presume you need maths in that. I don't know, because you're designing gardens and things. I think you might need to know a little bit about angles and degrees and what kind of plants need what kind of. I really don't know. I didn't do the course, but he got his diploma in that. Then he went to study music, and then he went to study film school. So he didn't follow one way. He didn't say, I want to become a cameraman, like I wanted to become a photographer. He went first this way, then that way, and another way, but
Now they are still studying, your students.
Sorry?
They are still studying, your children.
Are they still studying? No, my son is not studying anymore. My daughter is still studying. She's studying, well, do I have to say? She's at university in France, and she's studying law. Law, yeah. You know, the rules and regulations, and law, you know. I thought, that's interesting. And I said, you don't say you're sure, you say, well, so what are you learning? And she seems really interested in, you know, how society works and the rules and the laws, and yeah, okay, why not? As long as she's happy doing that, she seems happy. Yeah, we have a question back here.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
I just would like to ask about the relationship kid-parent before and after Summerhill. If you can develop.
I really don't know. What can I say? Let me take it from some of my friends around me who were just parents. Their kids were going to normal schools, and I could see that the kids were starting to lie to their parents, speaking in a really bad way about their parents, and something that always I didn't really like. You know, when you have teenagers speaking about their own dad or their own mum in a really bad way, and when you see them together, the kid would just be totally disrespectful, is what I would call. But there must be a reason for that. Maybe, you know, the parent is trying to put on a show, but as soon as we're not there, there's some other. I don't know. But I didn't kind of like. I don't like that kind of relationship at all. I always think life is about trust. If it's with your friends, or if it's with your family. If you're lying and saying bad things. Done by Thomas, he's such an asshole. God, fuck it. Oh, hi, Thomas. I didn't hear you were listening to. I mean, life is kind of, people like to play these games in the back of other people. And I hope I didn't have that kind of relationship with my kids. I don't think I did, from what I knew, but maybe I just didn't know, you know. But before and after, I didn't really see much of a difference. Just the kids were growing up, but then I already had that Summerhill kind of ideal of speaking at the breakfast table, and so what are you going to say? How was I? What do you think? You know, and I can criticize my kids. Go and clean your room, and what? Jesus Christ, pull the flush when you finish, and switch the light off, electricity, the planet, whatever. But they have the right as well to criticize me, and I've always encouraged that. You know, so what do you got to say? And, I'm not perfect either. We're all humans. So, but that's. I don't think there was much of a difference between before and after for me. But I'm in a different position because I grew through the Summerhill schools, philosophy, trust and love. I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, that special energy. Do you think your kids would hate you for sending them to Summerhill? Some maybe. Maybe half to 2/3 of the children at Summerhill are from divorced parents. When I was there, back in the 80s, I don't know about today. And you might think, oh, my parents abandoned me. They just kicked me out of the house because they didn't know what to do with me, and I feel like, but that might last for a few weeks, a few months maybe. But once you get into the rhythm of the school, you realize that, oh wow, it's actually quite a present that they gave to me. They're not just resigning the fact that, oh, I'm resigned. I'm your father, I resign. I'm your mama, I'm resigning. Oh, well, let's send them to this school on a little island in England, you know, and see what happens. No, you have to be convinced before you send your children to Summerhill. Even if you have mega bucks, you could be very wealthy and say, I need a place for my child at Summerhill. And of course, if Zoe or the team of staff that take care of Summerhill believe that the parents are not convinced, it's obviously going straight into the wall. It's going to be a failure. So you need to have faith in life. Are you going to die? Maybe. You might fall out of a tree. Okay. Did it happen? No. You might have a crash with your bicycle. Did it happen? Yeah. Did you die? No. In fact, there's nothing left. In fact, I can still ride a bicycle. Yeah, cool. You might smash into a window. Somebody had smashed the elbow into the window and went to the hospital, had stitches. Are they dead? No. Does that happen in other schools? Does it happen? Falling out of trees, maybe not. But, you know, falling off a bicycle or smashing a window, yeah, sure, yeah. Do they die? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But okay.
Kde je mikrofon? Můžeme poprosit poslat dozadu.
Hi Quincy.
Hi.
I'd like to ask, because when I talk to people about freedom in education, they usually say, oh, how can be these people when they had nothing compulsory during their education? And I'd like to ask you if you know about anyone who failed after going through Summerhill in this outside world. Because I need some argument, I usually say these people are like
sure.
successful.
People fail.
Yeah,
sure, yeah, wow.
Because, but
I don't know what you mean by fail, though.
No, I mean that. Like,
What do you mean by fail?
Like
Where's the scale? Where's the scientific scale? What's failure? Are you speaking about financially?
No, I mean no. I mean
You're
like
speaking about
here in Czech Republic there is like idea that when you are not told what to do, you are not able to function when you are an adult, like because you are not able to listen to orders and this kind of stuff. And I was just interested if you really know about someone who maybe went through Summerhill and now he's like homeless.
Homeless? Oh.
I don't know what to say. Like
I can't say I know of any homeless people from Summerhill. No, I can't. Have you got any other values of failure? I mean, if you take failure as professionally speaking, which is
Maybe,
what many people do, what kind of job do you have? What do you do in life? What kind of job do you have? How much do you earn? And depending on the answer, you're either a success or you're a failure. Then, like every other school, some people are very famous, very successful, very wealthy. Others are in science, doctors and dentists and God knows what else, researchers, and others will be artists, and we have our dose of unemployed people too.
Yeah, but I meant like the difference between like...
Do they have friends? Yes, they have friends, yeah. No, sorry.
No, it's okay. I think you answered the question.
Have I answered the question? Yeah. So, yes. But you've got to take a failure from where those people came from. Like, if you're a child, I don't know, let's take an example. They exist out there, right? I don't know what kind of example, but the kids have had a lot of bad parenting, okay, or something really bad. He's going through a traditional school, the parents don't care about the kid, don't listen about the kid, maybe they hit the kid, maybe they're hitting each other, maybe there's argument, I don't know what kinds of scenario exist out there. They're going through traditional school, they're going to have problems, right? They go through Summerhill, they will probably have problems too. Maybe those problems will be less dramatic than if they carried on not being listened to, having their parents fight and hit each other and violence, and I don't know what kind of other problem. Hopefully, in my opinion anyway, I think it will be less dramatic.
Thank you.
But I don't really have any concrete, you know, oh yeah, I remember this guy who, I don't really have that, but...
Thank you.
All depends on how you judge failure. Again, is it coming out with a degree or is it coming out with a smile on your face?
That's what I usually say to people when they talk about it, like, what's the failure? What do you mean by that? Because that's the question. I was just interested.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's work. Why? I don't know.
Well, thanks.
Did you ask your neighbor if they can have kids or not? Or are the parents sterile? I mean, so many people around me, young people, they can't have kids. And they really, they planned their career. And they go for their career. And at the age of 32, 33, yeah, we're going to have kids together. And they plan that. And then suddenly, a year or two later, they're now 35. Oh, it's not working. There's a problem, medical problem. We can't have kids. And you think, oh, wow, ask your neighbors how that works. Is that a failure? Wow, how can you change that? It's physical, it's your body. Maybe it's psychological, maybe it's your brain. Who knows what it is? But nobody's judging that.
It was just
it's not on a scale of
physical.
anything, but we judge on a scale of our intellectual capacity. And you think, okay, well, we're not born equal. When it comes to intellectual capacity, some people can learn really fast because they know what society is asking from them, and others don't see the reason to learn what somebody else is trying to push into their mind, and both exist. I'm mumbling away. Is it? You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Quincy,
yeah.
It's me again.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a bit more about discovering your interest in photography?
Okay. Yeah. How do I put this? The first photograph I took was before Summerhill. The Queen came to visit her house that was next to my parents' house, and I was 7 or 8, and I had this little camera, and the policemen were blocking the road like they do. The Queen is coming, you can't go through. And I said, I live here. They said, okay. So I went down the road and took a picture of the Queen. Well, actually, the back of the Queen, because she was going up the stairs, but whatever. And I thought, hey, I got a picture of the Queen of England. And I was really excited about that. And then I went to Summerhill and somehow carried on taking portraits. I really like to take close-up portraits of people. And I've since learned for many people, it's very intimidating to take your lens and zoom in on people's faces and capture expressions. And I really used to love that. And so I used to do that at Summerhill, tick, 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 and people would look at my pictures saying, oh, wow, I love this. Wow, you're really good at that. And I thought, oh, I love doing it. If you like looking at them, that's great. And so then I asked the art teacher, how do I get into photography school? And like I said earlier, you need this exam, that exam. And it's pretty easy afterwards. But I failed. Yeah, I'm a failure. Who said, yeah, I'm a failure. I wanted to be a photographer. That was my whole career, to become a photographer. But nobody wanted me. So you adapt and you learn, and somebody said, do you know how to film? Yeah, okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Great, okay. So it's not an ideal school. Is there an ideal school? Yeah, for everybody there's an ideal school, right? But we had fun. As a child, we had great fun. Do teachers enjoy Summerhill? Some of them love it. Some of them have been there for 10 years. Some of them hate it. Some of them won't last a term. Okay. So those who don't like it, they'll find their way in another school, you know.
And what about the Summerhill's fundamentals and basics? Is it still the same, or is it changing with time?
Yeah, it's changing. Yeah. How do you say that? I don't think Summerhill's changing so much as society is changing, because Summerhill has been around since 1921. It's a long time, right? How long is that? 90-something years. And yeah, it's. I think the major change is well, when we were there, there wasn't much TV, there were no mobile phones, no video games. So we were just outside playing around, bicycles, making fires and tree huts and spider dens. Do you know what spider dens is? You get string, you know the farmer's string that's made of kind of waxy kind of string? And you wrap it around and you make squares and you make a really big, what would be like a big hammock, but it's got really huge holes in it, and you can either swing on it or get up into the net, and that was great fun. So we did a lot of that. And today I think, well, my son was, you know, he was playing a lot of video games for a while. And so Dad's thinking, oh, there's a lot of video games. Oh, how long is he going to do this for? Mate, should I say something? What do I do? Do I not say anything? Oh, he's not going to ask me to play one with me, is he? Oh, my God. Well, after a while, he had enough and sold it and said, okay, that's it. I've had enough, and sold it. And I thought, okay, wow, God, thank God I didn't say anything. If I would have said something, maybe he would have said, you know, I'm going to keep that. And I think the main problem, from what I've heard, is in Summerhill, if you have a problem, if somebody's bullying you, do you know what the word bullying means? Kind of annoying you, bullying you, it could be physical, it could be verbal. Then you would bring them up in the meeting. The community would say, why are you bullying this person? What's the problem? What's going on? And if it carries on, we would have what we call a bullies list, where you put your name on a big sign, big letters, up on the wall, bullies list. You're not allowed to go in the swimming pool. You're not allowed to go downtown to the cinema, and a few other things. That was the way we coped with it at the time. And you go to the back of the food queue as well. I mean, that was mega dramatic, because food was important, right? And today, if you have that kind of problem, what I understand is that everybody has one of these, right? And so a kid's getting bullied, the kid gets the phone, oh, mom and daddy, oh, I feel so sad. And so the mom and dad say, oh my God, quick, phone the school. Hey, what's going on? My kid is so sad. And the school said, what? We don't even know about this. Why aren't they speaking to us in the meeting and things? So modern communication can be misleading, because if you are living in Czech Republic and your kid is in England and he's crying his eyes out, and you think, what a terrible school, they're not taking care of my kid. Whereas the truth behind that would be, instead of going to phone mom and dad, the kid needs to learn how to go and find an ombudsman. We didn't speak about ombudsman, did we? Well, okay, these are people who represent the meeting. So if you have a problem outside in daily life, you can go and see an older child who has a bit more of experience of the school and try and resolve the problem through the ombudsman, which is basically somebody who's having a dialogue between two people who have a problem. And so instead of going to see an ombudsman, they would phone mom and dad. And so that's modern day problem. So you just have to explain to the child that's not the way to do it. You need to get through the school to do it, because that's the way it works. But yeah, okay, yeah. Are they on the internet a lot? I don't know. If they are, they're learning to read and write at least. Is that good? Well, might be, might not be. Trust them. Some ex-pupils are very good woodworkers. They make beautiful furniture. You need maths for that, to draw out and know how things join together. Others are chiropractors, dentists, doctors. What have we got? Artists, photographers, filmmaker, actors. Yeah. Cooks. Yeah. Yeah. Mums, dads, too. Yeah. Not all of them put their kids in Summerhill. No, they don't. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Was there anything you had to struggle with because of being a Summerhill student in the outside world? And were there any reasons that your friends or your pupils tell you they would not allow their children to study at Summerhill if they had the choice? Like, was there anything negative about it in any terms you can think of? Thanks.
Yeah, sure, yeah, loads. Cracky, negative? Yeah, oh yeah, loads. You want me to say them here? Can we cut the cameras, please? No, yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, you might end up in a conversation with some friends in an evening, and they're all laughing about the history of, I don't know, King Henry VIII, and you know nothing about King Henry VIII because you didn't study it, and you think, oh Christ, why is it so funny? Yeah, you might feel left out about that, so, okay. Yeah, that can happen. Yeah. You don't feel part of that group, but then you might want to learn up about Henry VIII and see what happened. So, yeah, that kind of thing can happen. Yeah, sure, yeah. Do I feel bad about it? No, that's fine by me. I know that can happen. I know that I don't know. Do I hide behind it? Maybe sometimes, yeah. If I'm honest with myself, maybe. Maybe I, don't tell everybody that I went to Summerhill. Cracky, they will know that I don't know. But you know, who knows what in this society? When I film with scientists, so many things they don't know, I think, oh Christ, you know. We were speaking about this yesterday. We were speaking about photosynthesis, okay? And one of my films was on plants, the invisible powers of plants. So I'm looking throughout all the top scientists around the world to say, who is the specialist on photosynthesis? And I end up speaking to a quantum mechanics scientist in Toronto, who's one of the guys who've gone really far in his research. And I said, can you explain in a layman's terms, my terms, what is photosynthesis? How do plants do it? And he says, we don't know. What do you mean? You're the world specialist on photosynthesis. I've been hearing this word in my brain since I was a kid, and you don't know what it means, and you're the specialist on this planet of this photosynthesis thing? Okay, he doesn't know. What do you know? Okay, it's really fast. We know there's energy, the same energy in two places at the same time. It's going at, I don't know how many 0.0000s there are behind, I don't remember, of a second. It's really, really fast. There's no way we can see it. It's really hard to study, but we're trying to learn. And when you look every spring, what the plants do out there in life, you think, oh, this energy that just comes from somewhere, comes out of the ground, and we know nothing about how they make wood. How do trees make wood? Another scientist in Switzerland, he's the world specialist. How do trees make wood? Where does it come from? We don't know. What do you mean you don't know? So I'm trying to learn as I go along, you know, and in simple words. When a scientist says something too brainy, I don't get it. I say, I don't understand. And it does happen sometimes when a scientist will say to me, Quincy, Quincy, genetists, they're really good at that, you know, and Craig Venter is a famous scientist who discovered the human genome, and I had an interview with him, and he's going, oh, okay, we got 7 minutes. I go, oh, 7 minutes, oh, crikey. 7 minutes, okay, let's go. First question, and he answers, and I'm looking at him and saying, actually, I didn't understand a word. Could you say that as though you were speaking to a 7-year-old? And he turns to his assistant and says, I thought that was very clear. Don't you think that was very clear? And I'm thinking, oh my God, you mean it's just me? And she says, I think we can make the message clearer. And I thought, thanks. And he did, and we got the message a lot clearer, and it was good because I don't know, I think there's a need to go back to the basics. Not everybody's on the same level, on the same subject. I mean, I don't know who does what in this room. There may be specialists in maths, in architecture, in gardening, in whatever, but we may be specialized in one area and less in another. And it's always good to come back to a basic language that everybody can understand, to bring us up to the next level of comprehension of what's going on in the world. And that's what I love doing. I really love getting the message simple, or trying to get it simple, and so we get a better understanding of what's going on. And yeah, there's a lot of things in Summerhill where I feel left out. There's a lot of things that I learned by making these films on urine, you know, on feces, on these little insects that live in the Amazon. I mean, for Christ, nobody knew they were there before we made these films. I mean, has anybody heard of the word Membracidae? It's Latin, right? Nobody? Okay, there we go. So they exist, right? These are insects. They're artists of the insect world. They are beautiful. They are living pieces of art. They move, they fly, they make love, or they copulate, let's say. And yeah, they're out there. Do we know about them? How many people know about them? I know about them. I've seen them, filmed them, touched them, heard them. So I may not know about Henry VIII, but you know, as you grow older, you think, well, we're all on different levels. You just have to learn how to live with that and be happy with it. So that is a lack. Yeah, it could be a lack, but you catch up later, right?
And your friends, did they tell you, did they give you any reasons why they would not let their children?
Oh, I don't dare ask.
No.
You know? No, I don't. Why don't you send your kid to Summerhill? It's not for me to say, it's their kids. They know what Summerhill is. Some of them do, some of them don't. Those that don't, I don't want to make them feel guilty. I do not want to make them feel guilty, so I tend to not ask the question.
And one more thing.
But I presume they don't know what traditional school is, right? So maybe they think, wow, yeah, so what? Or maybe they don't want to put the money into that, or maybe they don't want to let their kid leave their heart, because that is really hard. Maybe they're experimenting other ways, you know.
And what would you say was the most important thing you learned at Summerhill?
Oh, I don't know. How to make love? Did I say that? No, cut, please. How to swim? Yeah, no, I knew how to swim beforehand. No, I don't know. To communicate with people, to not be so shy, to open up your feelings, to express yourself, to say what you think is maybe right, much wrong. But there are many people that didn't go to Summerhill who know how to do that anyway. So I don't know if it's particular to Summerhill, but for me, I felt really good. And generally just, you know, get on with your life and be happy with it, you know. So much intellectualization and why, you know, just do it, you know. Did you understand what I mean or no? Yeah.
Poslední dvě otázky teda. Pošlete prosím mikrofon.
Two questions. The last two questions. Okay. Oh.
Hello?
Yes.
I would like to ask if children have money in Summerhill, what do they buy? From what age? How is it with money? And how is it with religion?
Religion, there's no religious teaching.
And if they come from religious families?
I don't know, we had some Jews, but I don't know, we didn't know they were Jews, they were just friends, you know. They weren't praying every day or doing their thing, I don't know what they do, Jews, but, or, you know, yeah, sure. But
so
there's no religious
and
education.
The money?
And the money is very interesting, because, big time money. Because every Saturday, we had very little money, right? And I think that was pretty good, personally. At the time, we were allowed £20 a term. How much is that today? £20? Anybody know? 20 English pounds? How much? 600. Okay, 600 crowns. This is in the 80s, right? Per term. So this is like 2.5 months. You're allowed to bring at the beginning of term. Okay? And then roughly 2.5 months, yeah, roughly. And then every Saturday is pocket money. Taschengeld, as they say in Germany. And so we all queue up, and the principal, Ina, as it was at the time, she would have a tray full of coins, a little bit bigger than this. And there'd be a queue, and people would come, and nobody would grab the money. We often thought of doing the queue twice, because she would never notice. Nobody did it, because they didn't think it would be respectful. And what did they buy? Well, we didn't have that much money, but you would maybe be able to go to the cinema, or buy some chocolate, or Chinese food for the Chinese, or the Japanese. They loved the Chinese food. Or little bits and bobs for your hobby, you know, but nothing big, nothing important.
Everybody had the same amount, right?
In those days, everybody had the same amount, but it was slightly changing. Some of the Japanese kids were starting to bring £100, which is like 5 times more. What is that? 5 times 600. What does that make it? 3,000, is it? Okay, so yeah, I don't know what the rule is today. I have no idea. You have to ask Summerhill. But so in my days, it was big time. And you're in the meeting and you're cross-talking. You know, instead of putting your hand up and waiting for the chairman to say your name, you just, yeah, but I don't agree with that. You're cross-talking, okay? There's a structure to the meeting. You don't just cross-talk. So that the chairperson might say, okay, you're cross-talking, you got a strong warning, don't do it again. Yeah, but I don't agree with that. Okay, you've done that twice now. Please calm down, Quincy. Next time I'm going to fine you. Yeah, but I don't agree with that. Okay, you got 5p fined. So you get a warning, you get a second warning, and then depending on how aggressive you are, then yeah, you get your pocket money fined. Oh my God, is that how it works? A free school? Bloody hell. Yeah, that's how it worked when we were there. I don't know what the rules are today, but yeah, that was the way it worked. And the rules, you can change them all. All of them you can renegotiate and discuss and debate with everybody. I mean, at one point I was the only child who was 16 years old. Okay? Nobody else was 16, just me. And I said, I'd like to propose that anybody over 16 can take their bicycle up to 25-mile radius around the school. I forget what the limit was, but there was a limit beforehand. I said, I'd like to just 25 miles. And so I proposed that. Yeah, why do you want to do that? Yeah, I just feel a bit confined. I feel like I want to explore a bit further. Okay, debate. Okay, who's in favor? Everybody puts their hands up. Who's against? I don't remember how many, but it was carried, okay? It was carried. Now, behind that, I had an idea that I wanted to ride my bike on my own, without anybody else, to the next biggest town, which is Ipswich. Okay? So I don't say I propose I can ride my bike to Ipswich, because that sounds very selfish. And it's not a law anyway. You can't have a law for one person, right? But if you say anybody over 16 can ride within a 25-mile radius, it's about, could you call that politics? Maybe it's politics. Maybe it's journalism. It's just putting your needs into a way that everybody will understand and accept without necessarily being too clear about that. Well, yeah. So you do learn that kind of thing. That's one thing you learn, you know, how to be what would you, adapting. It's what survival is all about, right? You adapt with society, you adapt with what's going on. That's how we survive. That's how animals survive. And we have another question.
How about dating there?
Dating? What do you mean, eating dates?
No, I mean dating girls.
Oh, girls. Oh, I don't know much about that. No. Yeah, what about it? Yeah.
If it was forbidden, or
Wow.
if you went out of school to see other girls, or if your first girlfriend was from the school.
Okay. I can only speak from my experience. Did I go out of school to see other girls? No, there's many beautiful girls at Summerhill. There were, and still are. Forbidden to date girls. That would be pretty hard, don't you think? It wasn't, but I kind of don't know any school that would be able to do that. Do you? No, it wasn't forbidden. No, surely not. No. Making love is under English law is illegal under the age of 18, 16. I don't know what age.
Tak můžeme poprosit poslední dotaz?
Hello, hi. I would like to ask you. One my friend told me that he told me I have a small daughter, and this daughter is not able to play guitar every day when she is alone. And when I try to help her, she's able to play with me. So when she has my support, she's able to play regularly every day. And I would like to ask you if some child in Summerhill have a freedom to do nothing. Where is the border between the support from teacher and the freedom, you know, like?
Yeah, I think in Summerhill, if you want to learn, you have to be pretty motivated. Yeah. If you're not motivated, the teacher's not going to beat the lesson into your head if you're not motivated and you're not wanting to do it. Do you understand what I mean? You mean, what's the problem with this dad with his daughter? If she goes to Summerhill, he's worried that she won't learn guitar?
No, but I don't know how to say it.
She may drop guitar. She may drop guitar. Maybe the guitar is a moment that she likes having with her father. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm just expressing my point of view. But yeah, she may drop guitar in Summerhill. She may carry it on. She may do it even more intensely. I don't know.
so I think that it's a question of support from the teacher.
Yeah.
So if a child decides to learn, teacher help him, and if the child doesn't want to learn, teacher don't help him.
If the child doesn't work too well, doesn't understand. I'm not sure I understand, because let's come back to this Chinese thing. If you really want to learn, you learn, right? It's a question of motivation. Do we all agree on that, or does anybody disagree? So, if you're motivated, you'll learn like that, really, like that, really fast. One of the guys, okay, let's take an example. One of the guys that was my age was not going to lessons, okay? No lessons. I was starting to get interested in biology, chemistry, physics, and doing the lessons and say, oh, this is interesting. Maybe not passionate, but it's interesting. So I'd follow the thing. He comes in, does the physics. I think he did 1 or 2 years and was out with his exam like that, in a dash. And today he's the head of one of the British Telecom research departments. He's got a really important post. He was just really motivated. I was really jealous. I thought, wow, what kicked him? What made him fire for the physics there? I don't know what it was. He just saw something that he was really interested and got him really motivated, dynamic, and wow, look at this, wow, this is amazing. Wow. He was really excited, so he learned really quick. If you have somebody who's not learning very quickly, I didn't learn very quickly, maths and physics and chemistry. It took me 3 or 4 years to pass these GCSEs. Okay.
This my friend told me that the small child, when he's really small, like around 6 years, that she has not enough strong will, and that if this child is in a class, this child is supported by the will of the teacher, of the adult, and
maybe it's true. Maybe. Yeah. Would you like your daughter to be a ballet dancer or a classical piano teacher? Maybe that's the way you have to do it. If that's what you want for your daughter. Maybe she doesn't want it, who cares? That's her, that's your problem with her, You're the parent, you're the father. He's the father of her daughter. That's what he wants for her daughter. The parents choose, right? Parents choose. You choose for your children. What do you want for your children? If you have that choice, some countries you don't have the choice, right? Okay, in many countries today, you can choose what kind of education you would like. Okay? Are we okay on that? Yeah. So if you choose that you want your child to be the best classical piano teacher and ballet dancer in the world, then yeah, you're going to have to maybe work on that child in a way that isn't a Summerhill way, because that's not what happens at Summerhill. There's very little competition in Summerhill. What kind of competitions did we have? The first one to ride the bike around the house and arrive in front of the front door. Yeah, wow, yeah, I won. Yeah, okay. Nothing really serious. Is that okay what I'm saying, or not really?
This my friend said that small child needs some daily routine, some regular plan.
Structure.
Structure to get a will there.
Okay, what can I say? What do you want me to say? I know some people who were there from they were 6 years old. Okay, what do you want me to say? What they're doing today? One is a chiropractor. Okay, he spent 10 years at Summerhill. And today he's a chiropractor, very, very successful, doing miracles on people's backs, specialist of the spine. Another girl, she was there for 9 years. What's she doing today? She's a coach in a sport fitness center. Run 5 minutes, stop, do this, do that. I don't know what she does, but so I don't know. Yeah, do you need it? No, you don't. To get somewhere? No, you don't. No, you don't. It depends if you want to let that child have the free will to find their own destination, or if you want to impose what you think is the best destination for them because you're worried you're going to get old and they're going to need to earn some money because, you know, they got to take care of you when you're old, right?
And please, last question from me, that some people say that small children are stressful by freedom because they need some plan if they are small.
Right, I can't answer that. I did not know freedom when I was 6. I came at 7, and I did not have any stress. None whatsoever. At 9. So I can speak in my experience. And my friends that were there when they were 6, they don't seem particularly stressed out. But, I'm not a psychologist, I can't help you, or a teacher, and I have not studied that kind of thing. But...
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So, Quincy, the very last question. Do you ever regret going to Summerhill?
Glad?
Regret.
Oh, regret? Oh, no way. Regret? Okay, no. Thank you.
Závěrem bychom vlastně chtěli říct, jak moc nás příběh Quincyho fascinuje a taky samozřejmě příběh všech ostatních, co do Summerhill nebo Sudbury školy chodí, nebo chodili, nebo budou chodit. My bychom hrozně byli rádi, aby takových příběhů vznikalo co nejvíce tady v České republice. Zjistili jsme právě, že to není možné díky legislativním omezením a že takovou školu, jako bychom si představovali, takovou školu, do které chodil i Quincy, tady zkrátka není možné realizovat. Takže vlastně pro Svobodu učení teďka vznikla vlastně, dá se říct, největší priorita a to se snažit teda vlastně ty zákony změnit ve prospěch takovéhle školy, aby tady mohla vzniknout a mohla tady legálně existovat.
Yeah, like I said before, freedom is expensive.
My vám moc děkujeme, že jste přišli a thank you Quincy for being here. Thank you for sharing your stories.
I hope it was helpful. I mean, I don't know, but I hope you feel happy with what was said.
Tak jo, děkujeme moc.
Thanks.